Okay, hello, beautiful, magical ADHDers. Welcome to the ADHD Roundtable. This is episode 11. I'm so excited about this. Um, if you are new to the ADHD Roundtable, it is a discussion about ADHD to bring normalcy to neurodivergence. Yes, neurodivergence, while engaging in deep conversations and having fun. And we have some amazing people with us today. I'm so happy to have them with us today. So my first question, just like almost every time I open this, it's just going to be the same question. What is a recent ADHD moment that you've had that's just like top of mind? That's like, oh, I did the thing. What's a recent ADHD moment?
I'm going to start that one.
Great.
I did not pay my car, and I did not set up auto pay. Just got a brand new car, did not set up auto pay, and also lost my debit card, so I'm getting a new one. And you know that whole shit show. So here I am, like 28 days past due, about to hit my credit, late payment. Finally did it. Card came in today. Everything's fine, but that shit is not even abnormal for me.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah. Holding my phone. I have a book on top of the phone. I can't find my phone.
Who took it?
I can't find it.
I think, well, it's for me, I was clicking in today for this, and then I accidentally clicked something else in my calendar, and I was in another waiting room. And then I looked at the names, and I was like, oh, this person's going to be with Jess because it's someone we both know. And then I realized, oh, I'm in the wrong place. Just like little oversights when you're trying to like rush through things and things are close together on your schedule.
So many things, so many.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they're normal and they're fun to like. One thing that I used when I was living with some ADHDers before is we would just start laughing about these things. She would, one of the things that she would do is leave spoons everywhere. So then I couldn't find any spoons in the drawer. So I'd be like, girl, where are all the spoons?
Well, there's one in the yogurt by her bed. There's one underneath her bed because she didn't pick it up. It's out of sight, out of mind. There's a couple in the car. She accidentally threw one away. It was in the Tupperware.
In the car, not the car.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Yep. So I joked with her that I was gonna just buy more spoons so that I would have spoons. And then she found them and brought them back down. It was great. But it reminded me, my ex-husband also has ADHD, and they had similar flavors of ADHD. So I would just laugh about that all the time. Like, oh, all the spoons are gone again.
Flavors. I like that.
I know, I love talking about it like that because like there's just different flavors of ADHD, and some go together and some are a little different, and
I want the ADHD that makes you like OCD to clean, you know. I want the ADHD that makes you hyper focus on the laundry. I want that.
I don't have that.
I don't have that.
I don't have that. Yeah.
You get that on Amazon?
Yeah. Later in life, that happened to me. Later in life. I think as our hormones change, well, because I didn't even know that I had ADHD until menopause hit.
Oh, wow.
And because your hormones change, then the symptoms are enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I think probably as our hormones change, things change too. That also helps that I don't have, my daughters aren't living in the house. So now it's just, everything is just me. I just am cleaning up after myself. And that's always a lot easier. But I always keep everything. My daughters tease me now that my house looks like I'm about to have a showing but it helps my mind if I have things like I know where things are, because I just learned that I was just spending so much time and wasting so much time and energy hiding everything from myself. I still hide things from myself, but just it's not as often when I do that.
Wow, that's cool. Well, speaking of hyper focusing on things, if you are new to this and you don't know what hyperfocus is like when you get sucked into a project that you're like really excited about, and then you forget to do things like eat or pee or like random stuff. So what is your current hyperfocus? Tell us a little bit about it.
For me, I'm actually in the process of putting together a different coaching group, but for trauma. So I am loving learning Canva and like just all of these things in presentation and editing. Like that's my thing right now. Like I am in it. I am I know when that switch clicked, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm in hyperfocus. There's no stopping me now. So
yay, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is
Plus, you
exciting.
get to learn a new skill. So
Yeah. And I love to, I mean, obviously with ADHD, like I love the creative part of it, right? Like, so putting it together, but also like laying out like the presentation and thinking of the colors, like that's all like, I'm all in for that. So.
Yeah, I love that too. And then I have to be careful because then I have the time blindness and like I don't realize how much time I spend on it. And then maybe I'm not paying attention to other things. My dog is so funny. Like she knows what time she should be having dinner and I'll be working and then she'll just be staring at me. She'll just come and stare at me for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then I feel her staring at me and I'm like, oh, it's like 5 o'clock, isn't it? Let me feed you.
Yeah.
And the other day she just got under my desk, but I've just launched my first men's group coaching program as a group. I usually coach men like solo, or I've had women's group programs. So anyway, so I've been doing that. And then my hyper focus has been I have been having fun in Canva, but Chat GPT using that to make my life easier.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Playing around with it. Yeah.
That's all in there too. Yeah. That's been interesting.
So recently my hyper focus has been like kind of self-care and self-maintenance and therapy and everything. I just went through a breakup after 5 years, and it kind of prompted me to, I guess, get back out there. So I've just been thinking about myself for once. I have 3 kids. I was with this guy for 5 years. So it was kind of about everything about them and the household and everything. And right now I'm in the fuck them kids. Grandma, come get them. I'm going to the spa. I'm in that kind of hyper focus, and It's cool because my mom's letting me kind of ride that wave for a little bit. But it's interesting looking back, like ADHDers, we have sometimes issues with self-care or hygiene and stuff like that. And looking back, I had just neglected all of that. And I don't know if it's like depression or ADHD or a mix of the both. But now I'm doing things that are pretty normal, but I think they're pretty cool. Like a skincare routine.
Yay! Yeah. Congrats on that. I saw on Instagram recently of reframing, instead of saying self-care, call it system maintenance. And that's been really helpful to a lot of people in my space. Like, because self-care can be anything from remembering to eat to like a bubble bath. And those are like tiered differently than like your system maintenance. Yeah. Like you need to eat, you need to sleep.
I feel like in our hierarchy of needs, like the ADHD is just like, maybe eat today? I don't know. If you're feeling, a little sparkly, maybe eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So calling it system maintenance could be helpful. DaVita, I was curious, and any of you who are using it, but what ways are you using ChatGPT to help you with your life?
Oh my goodness. I was doing some things for my YouTube channel, which my YouTube is Yes Tantra, and I was creating videos. And so what I would do is I would grab the transcript for the video, and I would put it in there. And I would just say, as an expert world-class copywriter who's a YouTube SEO expert, please write a YouTube description with emojis for this video. Give me some title ideas. Give me a hook. Give me thumbnail suggestions. Let me know a caption of some words to put on the thumbnail, some choices. And then, and in addition to that, I have TubeBuddy to help me with hashtags. So it'll do that, but I didn't ask for that. And then I said, and then I want you to also generate an email to promote this, make it brief, make it less than 200 words with a link to this. I want 5 subject lines, emojis. I want pre-header text, put it in this kind of conversation that excites them to read it. Thank you. And then it just like, and then
That's
I just
all in one prompt. That's one
prompt. I do that in one prompt. And then everything just comes out in seconds.
Wow.
And then I tweak what I want, what I need to do.
I feel like that's a really awesome way to deal with overwhelm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like ChatGPT, make me not embarrassed. Like tell me some things so I'm not embarrassed to call my car and tell them that I'm late on my payment and can I have an extension? Like that'd be great. I need a script for that. Because if not, I'm just blah, 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 blah.
It will totally help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it what to be. Like, I want you to, as a lawyer, write this for me.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that. Like, I want this professional opinion. Like, as an expert in this area, this is what I need help with.
Well, I know what I'm doing in an hour.
And for how many hours, though?
You know your new
thing. You're gonna be down. You're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
It better be productive.
Yeah. It's really helpful. It's been I've with this coaching, coming up with this coaching group that has been really helpful for me as well. Like I know the information that I want to relay, but it's nice to have it lay out things for me and it's just done. It's just really nice. You can download the stuff into notes or whatever. It's just amazing.
I copy and paste, not to interrupt you, Sharon, but I copy and paste what the answers are. And then sometimes I'll make a Google Doc and I'll put like everything that was for that video and then the link to that YouTube video just to save it in my files. Like if I'm not going to do everything all at one time. And then another thing is you can say, hey, I'm going to do a workshop for 30 minutes and this is my expertise and this is what I do. And these are the objectives I have. This is the people that I'm going to be working with. Give me an outline for what to do. And it will just give me all this stuff. And then I use those prompts to create. I'm like, oh, I could plug that in there. Oh, that's a good idea. And it just gives me this framework to build from. And I don't waste as much time just looking at my paper, trying to decide how to organize it out because we can definitely overthink.
Yeah.
So that's really been super helpful.
Yeah.
That's like the push start that we need too, because if we get stuck in the thinking phase of things, sometimes there's no getting out of it. And then it just turns into the overwhelm and the giving up.
And the frustration. Yeah.
Frustration.
For sure.
Well, that's so dope. Have you guys heard of Goblin Tools?
Mm-mm.
No.
It's another AI that I hear a lot of ADHD people are using, and you could probably use it similarly to ChatGPT, but it's helpful for writing out the smaller tasks for the big projects. So like if you're trying to teach your kid how to clean their room and maybe they have ADHD, you can be like, what steps do I need to teach my 11-year-old to clean their room? And it'll pop out every tiny step. Like
I love that.
The clothes, go do this thing, instead of just clean your room. Because what does that mean?
Doesn't mean anything.
Right. My number one tip for that is check in every 3 to 5 minutes, depending on their age. With my 5-year-old, every 3 to 5 minutes. With my 13-year-old, every 10 minutes, but he gets to decide if he wants to be checked in on.
That's fair. Consent is helpful. Okay, so what is one of like your favorite things about your flavor of ADHD?
I think for me, it makes me feel like I could do anything.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like I it's just a matter of, and now with ChatGPT, figuring out the steps, right? Like you can break anything down into steps. Everything is a mathematical equation, right? Like everything can just be sort of chopped up and, broken down and you can do it all that way. I think that's my favorite thing.
That's awesome.
I think definitely something along the same lines. Like I feel like I can do anything. I just made an Instagram reel about like I'm the friend that's you know, if something needs to get done or be said, it's like, oh, ask Ari to do it. Like she'll do it. And I think I'm just really like, in Spanish we say like aventada. We just throw ourselves into things, throw caution to the wind. And I think people think it's confidence, but I think it's like sometimes maybe blind stupidity or just a lack of awareness. I don't know, but if you're like, hey, you know, I want to start a business on this tomorrow, I'm like, bet, let's go. I could stay up till 6 a.m. So I like the kind of confidence it gives me, even in interpersonal communications, just to really like be a go-getter.
Yeah.
And think on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love like the creativity part of it and having a lot of ideas and just feeling resilient again with that, like capable of everything. But then I have to also remind myself, there's a book I really love called Who Not How. And so it's really important. Like that's why I'm trying to build up a team for myself, is because the downfall of that is that because I can figure a lot of things out and I can do my website and I can do that, like I'm not staying in my zone of genius to where I create the most impact. And I've started thinking too, like, as I build my team, I really just want to delegate to my team those things that can take a lot of my bandwidth so that I can give my brain a break from like popping back and forth between so many things. Because after a period of time, it is not kind to your nervous system for you to always be like trying to do everything. And then you don't really go in on what like that. The thing is that you really like, if you can do something and make thousands of dollars an hour, why are you doing tasks so that you could pay someone $10 to $20 an hour for? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing of like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, can get us.
Y'all have a problem delegating too? I'm bad at delegating. Mm-hmm. I got it.
Sometimes it's hard. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Sharianne.
I was just going to say, sometimes I don't have it organized to delegate. I can't tell you how to do it.
That's why.
So I won't tell you to do it.
It's here.
Yes, it's here. So it's like, I can't just like go like that. So, so that's my problem with delegation. I think I'm over. I know that it's necessary. I don't have that fight anymore. It's just, how do you take it out of my brain? And
what I'm doing is I'm using Loom, and I'll screen record some of the activities that I do. Like I screen recorded how I was using different, like Descript for editing my videos, or how I was using ChatGPT and doing my thumbnails and my emails and all that. And I would just screen record it and talk and narrate through as I was going. That way I can pass that to my VA and then let my VA write up like a KPI, like a system on how to do it, that they could show the next person. That's what I'm thinking. Just like watch me do it. And then if I need to give you a little extra tutorial, because otherwise, just for me to make something creative. But I bet you anything, if we did a voice memo to our phone about the things that we do, and then we copied and pasted and put in ChatGPT, and we said, create a workflow for this for someone brand new so that they could do this for me, I bet they would do it.
Wow.
I am flabbergasted right now.
Yeah.
Ari's going to be like 24 hours in the ChatGPT.
You guys can text me at 7 tomorrow morning and I will not have slept.
You're like, Ari, are you still on ChatGPT?
Have you gone pee yet? Oh, is that what this sensation is?
Do you have water?
I think it's really fun to have super useful to every ADHDer needs somebody who's super neurotypical that is patient and understands their brain, because it's almost like I had that. My best friend, Michael, in college, he was just kind of like my seeing eye dog, we would say, because we were always together. We had all the same classes, and he was my organized, like, Ari, come on, get back to it. Like, Ari, we're supposed to be working on this. And he was just kind of like herding cats, because I'm everywhere. And I always said my neurotypical seeing eye dog. That sounds like that's what ChatGPT is.
I'm also that person. So anybody.
Yeah, and you said you didn't have ADHD. I was like, that's her.
That's totally me. And normally I go last with the shameless plug, but this is a great transition. So I'm going to shameless plug and then tell you guys to shameless plug. But That's one of my programs. That's what I do. The program is called Fucking Little Tasks, and it is a body doubling membership. And we have calls twice a week right now. My goal is to have them like every day of the week eventually. But right now we have calls twice a week on Zoom where you hop in for the hour and then you like say the thing that you're going to work on and you do it during that hour. Or if you're feeling stuck, getting some support on like what to do first. And what I find is that a lot of people, even if they don't always show up for the Zoom, because it's on their calendar, they're thinking about the thing that the fucking little task that they've been avoiding that they get to do right now. And so sometimes they do it before they hop on the call, or sometimes we organize it and then they do it when we get off the call. But it's been really, really powerful and helpful for people who need that, like a little bit of hand holding, especially with shit like answering emails or doing the laundry or like this stupid tasks. That's why I call it fucking little tasks, because they're the fucking little tasks you don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've joined those and they've been really good. They're really good. So yeah, definitely. Body doubling does help me as well.
Yeah. I used to have my best friends just come over and sit on my bed. Can you just come and sit?
Yep. Okay. So people know about me, but tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a shameless plug for whatever it is that you were pitching today or want people to know about.
Who's going first?
I'll go. So I'm Dominique DaVita. I'm a trauma-informed master coach, registered nurse, and a certified Tantra educator. What I love about Tantra is it helps you with our overthinking mind, because a lot of times we're not feeling as much pleasure in our bodies because we're up here, and when we're overthinking, we're under feeling. So Tantra really helps you use all of your 5 senses and drop into your body to experience more sensation, more pleasure, and be multi-orgasmic. I even coach men how to be multi-orgasmic and have stamina for hours. So it's really incredible. And what's been also really interesting is that the 3 main tenets of Tantra are breath, sound, and movement. And when I became trauma informed, and I'm sure Sherry Ann knows based on your experience too, that those things support healing trauma as well. And so I was like, oh, literally Tantra is like the sexual healing Marvin Gaye would sing about. And that's how I started healing from my past traumas a decade ago when I first discovered Tantra, and that began my whole journey. So I coach men and women, couples and singles. You don't need a partner to begin. And I just launched my first men's group program, and we have, and it was incredible. The men were just like loving the first call, and even the work that I do with men is also in support of the feminine, because that way men can understand, they want to understand what women really want. And men have so many challenges in this world too, and don't have enough safe spaces. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm super passionate about it. So thanks for letting me share. My website's yestantra.com, and my Instagram's at YesDaVita, and my YouTube is Yes Tantra. And I do new videos there every Tuesday and Thursday.
DaVita is amazing at what she does. And she has a background in nursing, and she's much older than she looks. So she has a lot of wisdom.
I see all these white hairs. I'll be 55 on Halloween.
No, you won't.
Yeah. Orgasms are the fountain of youth.
Amen. You wanted us to talk about our ADHD strengths. Well, I wasn't going to say that, but listen, hypersexuality and our stamina, I think, and our imagination, I just think it's a recipe for a beautiful life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I guess I'll go next. So I'm Ari, and I was a high school teacher for many years. And then I lost my husband. And so I decided to stay home with the kids. So now I'm a full-time content creator. My Instagram is Ari ADHD with 3 A's in Ari. And I guess we'll have it tagged below here somewhere. But so I just make shamelessly relatable videos about ADHD. And I feel horribly underqualified to be here with you guys, but I guess I'm just the comedic relief of Instagram and TikTok and everything. But I love making people feel seen I love talking about the taboo things that nobody really talks about. I do a lot of talks about sex, hyper and hyposexuality, also about trauma, PTSD, and a lot of things that I went through with my husband's death. And also something that not many people like to talk about because it's taboo, like I said, suicidal ideation and everything. I think that's like yeah, we're horny and we're fun people, but ADHDers also deal with suicidal ideation a lot, especially the negative self-talk and everything. So I like to talk about everything that people are too afraid to talk about.
Ari, I want you to hear me when I say this. You belong in this room.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I was so excited about the three of you because you are all very powerful, amazing women. And I'm so excited to have all of you in the room at the same time.
I'm excited to be here.
Thanks.
All
right, Sherry.
Yes. So I am Sherry Best, and I am a licensed therapist out in New York, Long Island, New York, group practice owner. And my clinical focus is on trauma recovery and then also ADHD. So I have a journal that I completed without ChatGPT, I have to say, but the next one will not be. So it's for sister girls who've wondered why, I don't know if you can see it, but it's for sister girls who've wondered why they can't get their shit together when the ADHD is enough. And so this is an affirmation journal that I take 12 executive skills and I created affirmations around them. I borrowed some of them. They're not all mine. I didn't create them all. But taking affirmations and using the executive skills as a way of just reminding yourself what you need to do to get through your day. And so, and then also to educate women, but Black women about ADHD, because a lot of times we're just historically underdiagnosed. And I obviously am a sister girl who has ADHD, so I'm here to help to normalize that. So that's the ADHD part. And then I am in the process right now of launching my trauma coaching program. We're in the beta portion right now. So it's really exciting. So that's something that I plan on doing from now on out. So that's me.
That's nice. I'm gonna have to get my hands on that journal.
It's available at Amazon. I'll give you the link.
Yes, please send me the link. I'll make sure I put it below when we're done. You guys are so amazing. I'm just so blessed that all three of you are here right now. Okay, so since we're in the business of talking about taboo things, I'm trying to think of what direction to take this. What has been one of the most difficult moments where like your ADHD is full-fledged and it's interacting with the world around you in a horrible way, and it's just a hurricane of crazy? If you're willing to share a little bit about the difficult parts.
I know for me, I can't be spontaneous. I'm not good with sort of not that I'm not good with curveballs. I'm good with that, but sort of just like, hey, I'm coming to your house, or hey, can you do this? Like, it's like, hey, no, like that. That's really difficult for me. And if I have to, that can kind of send me into a little bit of a tailspin, right? Like I can definitely, like if I have to, like I just need, even if it's the day before, right? Even if it's just the day before, if I know I'm doing something the day before, I just feel like, you know, I can get it together that way. But like just in that moment, hey, this is doing this, or I got to do that, or I need you to do. It's just really, that's just really hard for me. It's just really tough. And I can feel the flooding, right? Like I can feel the flooding coming when that happens. So that's something I would like to work on a little bit. I don't know. At this point, there are certain things that I'm working on, and there are other things that I'm just throwing that away. Like, I'm just not doing that.
Yes.
I've resolved myself of that. So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, okay. So background, I met Sherry on TikTok, and she had never gone live for herself from her page before. So kudos to you for, like, I think we decided that day of. So
it was.
Sorry for throwing
that. Exactly. Yeah, that. But that worked out, and I was so glad that I did do it. But that's a great example. Yeah.
Yeah, for me too, I do like planning. I like to know ahead of time. But then I can also think I want to go. And then in the end, I'm like, I don't really know that I want to go. That thing. I think from even my years living in LA, I think that can start to happen a lot, because just getting through traffic to go somewhere, you might have thought it was a good idea, but then when you see how the traffic is, you're like, I don't know that that's a good idea anymore. So I think I started like picking up on that more when I was in California. But as Sherry Ann shared, my mother had me much later in life. So my mother was born in 1933.
Oh, wow.
And I remember when I was a teenager, I thought it was so embarrassing because there was no cell phones or anything then. But my mom at her home, and when I had first moved out or when I was in high school, she would put a note on her door, and it was legit. If you have not called me and made plans to be here, do not knock on my door. Now I get it. Because I was always like, Mom, you are such a hot mess with this. How do you do? How embarrassing that you do that. She was like, no, if you've not made a plan with me, you do not come and knock on my door. I was like, okay, but I can get that now, but it was hard to understand then. And then I think too, like the raging, it was worse when I was hormonal, like the raging. If I get upset with something, I could get like overly upset more than maybe was warranted. And that was really hard on some of my relationships. And I didn't know at the time that I had ADHD. So it just was like, I don't know, just as a bad, I don't know why this is happening, but I'm really pissed now, because I could always be so nice and so calm. And then all of a sudden something could really set me off. And then I'll be like, oh, I regret saying that, because I'll be more impulsive. Now I've learned about 10 years ago when I started Tantra, that really helped me so much. And I realized, people's behavior is a reflection on them. My response to their behavior is a reflection on me. So I don't always have to be the one to like say something or tell someone they shouldn't be doing something or whatever. I just stay in my lane.
Like, you don't have to fix it.
Exactly.
That's hard for me.
But even in addition to the ADHD, we still have things that we've learned and picked up on, right? Like we still have our own just regular stuff to unpack and figure it out. And it's like, we have to get in there and figure ourselves out so that we know what's our stuff, like what can we kick out, right? And what's some of the things that are going to stay, and we just have to figure out how we're going to manage it. But some things gotta go.
Yeah, I always wonder what like my trauma is, or my baggage, or my depression. I always try to like sift through the ADHD and like try to separate it and kind of be very conscious about like, no, Ari, that's not your ADHD. Let's not make that the reason. But let's also acknowledge that your ADHD is exacerbating the situation, but let's not point the fingers there, Yeah. I think right now
is so important.
Yeah. I think right now my biggest struggle is task avoidance in all areas of my life. Like I said, like I just went through a breakup. So I feel like, I don't mean to use the word manic loosely. I'm also diagnosed with BPD. And so my high highs and my low lows, even though it appears on the surface that I'm a very high right now, I know after being in therapy for a few years that this is actually one of my lowest lows. And that's why I'm avoiding everything from paying bills to cleaning my house. I get my kids, from school, and I'm like, guys, let's go do this. Let's go to the park, or guys, let's go out to dinner, or let's go here and there. And like just the overspending of money and everything. Like right now, it looks like I'm super, super happy, but to the trained eye, we're like, what the fuck is Ari going through? And luckily everybody in my life, like who loves me, is like really supportive and like keeps me in line and everything. And through therapy, I'm super self-aware now. But like, I feel like I'm giving myself this time, but I know that when I come back to my home and more stability and more structure and everything, I know there's a fuck ton of laundry to do. That's all I know. So basically right now, that's my ADHD low, just the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. I have another program. That's a 6-week program. It's called ADHD Get Shit Done Boot Camp. That might be perfect for you right now.
Very beneficial for me.
Oh, it starts in September. Thank you all for sharing. It's not always easy to share the hard stuff. So I appreciate you being vulnerable and brave and sharing, and helping other people realize like this is normal and we get to be human and we get to experience these difficult things.
I want to add something.
Yes, please.
One is just, if someone is listening and joining us right now, just to know too that, women are very underdiagnosed with ADHD because we present differently. The good girl or getting things done or staying on task, we might not have that hyperactive element. We may be very daydreamy or in other ways that, we're very talkative. Because for me, it was like daydreamy or talkative. So it wasn't diagnosed when I was younger, so I didn't know that. And then what I have noticed too is it's almost like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once,
That movie.
I will get messed up with my taxes and get behind on stuff like that because I almost want to just like, it overwhelms me. And then I'm just like, can I just pretend that doesn't exist? Can I just ignore it? And then I can literally blank it out of my head. And it's the wildest thing. It's like out of sight, out of mind is a real deal with ADHD.
Oh yeah, we have a file cabinet. We can toss that file, close the drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. One of the other things that I'm going to throw another ADHD term out there that you three probably know, but rejection sensitivity dysphoria. If you're new and don't know what that means, essentially, ADHDers struggle with rejection in a deeper way than neurotypical people. So I tend to frame it as like ADHDers tend to feel bigger emotions and more deeply. So the rejection stays like on a circle in your brain or whatever, and it just can tear you up in a different way than it does for people who are neurotypical. So my question to you all is, how do you deal with that as an ADHDer? What kind of tools have you found that work for you when you're dealing with rejection sensitivity dysphoria?
Delusion. I never had self-confidence ever. And then I just decided one day that I was going to be confident. And I was like, I feel like I just made myself so delusional about it, like, and made that my personality. Like, now I'm going to be confident. It was night and day. Like, I'm just going to like switch over and fake it until I make it. And it freaking worked. But I also have a question, if I could just piggyback. Do any of you guys feel the rejection sensitivity physically?
Pain is physical. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Pain is
physical. It hurts.
Yeah, it can.
It's painful.
Yeah. I know for me, it's almost like a chicken egg kind of a situation because I'm also a survivor of trauma. And so I don't really, I can't say what it is, to be honest, right? Because of that. And that's one of the things that I love about what I do, because I do blend the two a lot of times. And I personally feel like my ADHD comes from my history of trauma. And so I don't know what is what, right? Like I heard about this idea, but for me personally, I've got some wounds there, right? Like, so it's just like, I can't really, there's no name on the wound, right? Like it doesn't say this is trauma, this is ADHD, like it's all a part of me. Yeah. So for me, I'm not sure which is which or what comes from what. But I know, again, just being really self-aware and just trying to be good to myself and, just all the things that you just do to recover just from adversity, period, I think has been a part of, my own journey. And what's really great about being a therapist is in me researching things for my clients, like I'm constantly like healing myself over and over. And I'm like, that, yes, that. Like, so it's like buy one, get one free, but they pay me, but I still get it. So it's nice. So I don't know what is what from me personally.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, love that. I love that. For me, I use meditation practices, which I really thought I would never be able to meditate because I felt like the meme of like, I have 1,000 tabs open in my brain, but just knowing it's not that I'm not going to have thoughts. It's just when I imagine, I think when I learned from the Headspace app supported me the most in learning, and because I almost gave up on it. And my friend was like, you just got to try Headspace. And it has these cute little animations and cartoons. And so one of the things it was showing was, it was saying, imagine when you're meditating that you're just sitting on the sidewalk and cars are driving by. And it's not, and so there's traffic there. And it's not that the cars are like your thoughts. It's not like they're going to go away. It's just that you don't run in and play with the traffic. And sometimes if you run into the traffic, you catch yourself, you don't judge or shame yourself. You just return back to your breath. Because I was thinking, if I'm supposed to not have thoughts in my head, like there's just no way I can do this. So that reframe really helped me. And I think their first few weeks are free and then you can renew, but you can just repeat those free ones. I highly recommend. So meditation, doing deep breathing, deep belly breaths, and just other practices to support my nervous system, I've found have been really helpful. And I saw a video recently of a little baby, and it was showing the baby. I don't know if either of you have seen it. It was like a little infant, and they were wanting to play with a toy. They're like up in a high chair. And the first baby could play with the toy and really focus in on the toy. And so we have hyperfocus, but then sometimes if it's a boring task, or sometimes we won't be able to focus even if we want to. So it just varies. But like for this baby, one of the babies was able to just fully be immersed in playing with this toy. But that baby had got a lot of cues from its family and where it was growing up of a lot of safety. The other baby that had trauma and had not the stability that it needed in those foundational years, the first few months, that baby wanted to play with the toy, but then kept looking up and looking around. So it's constantly being scanning for safety. Even and on a side note, if a woman wants to be orgasmic, she may subconsciously always be scanning for safety and being hypervigilant, and orgasm isn't going to happen where hypervigilance is happening. You have to let that go. So even the baby, like, I'm not looking at this thing that I really want to, but I don't feel safe enough to really give it all my attention. That really resonated and landed for me. And I was like, oh, no wonder I can split my focus and get so distracted, because probably when I was little, I'm always looking my focus and shifting around for safety. Because I know, I can't even think of his name right now, Dr. Gabor Mate, I love his research and everything. And he says a lot that, ADHD comes from trauma, because we are, we're having all these things happen and how it's impacting our nervous systems as we're developing. So it's really interesting. I was like, oof, I can see how that impacted me. And I think what Sherry Ann said is like, also we can see these traumas and be self-aware, but I don't know that we have to like go so deep. But as with ADHD, we want to really know where it came from, but just to know like, oh, this is what's happening. How is this supporting me? What is its role been? What good things has happened to me from it? And can I maybe give it another task, or you know what I mean? Give it something better to do that it can, if it thinks it's protecting me or keeping me safe, just thank it and say, you know what? I don't need you to do that anymore, but I'll give you you've been promoted. I'm giving you another role in my life, and you could do this, and that would be more supportive.
Yeah, I love that. I'm stealing that actually.
That is so beautiful. The self-compassion is, I'm almost crying. It's a very hug, like mindset reframe for me.
Yeah. One of the things that I often have my clients do is name their ADHD. So if you give it a name and like a personality and picture what it would be wearing, and then you can decide consciously when they're, like DaVita was just saying, giving it a different task, but then you can decide when it's running the show and when it's not, because there are times where your ADHD supports the hell out of you and like, oh my gosh, I need to multitask and have my energy in lots of different places. Like, yes, we're going to have Sharon, we're going to name her for whatever reason, Sharon, come to the front and take over. But sometimes you're like, Sharon, you need to get in the back seat. You're not driving anymore.
You need to chill the fuck out.
But just giving a name to that can be really, really powerful.
And for me, being a critical care nurse with a bazillion things happening and a code and running here and a ton of tasks to do, I started being a nurse when I was 19. So it's like, that's perfect for my ADHD brain. And I've seen that a lot of critical care and ER nurses have ADHD.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And a lot of teachers. We're everywhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about meditation, because you were talking about it, is one, I have a few, I've created some guided meditations that are specifically for ADHDers. They're in my website. And I actually listened to one of them last night because I hadn't done it in a while. And I was like, wow, this is really good. I made it like a year and a half ago. And I just listened to it again for the first time. It was really great. But one of the things that I talk about in the guided meditation is like, you don't have to sit still. You can go on a walk and listen to the meditation. You can do stuff with your hands. I feel like the stigma around meditation is you have to like close your eyes and sit perfectly still, but like you don't have to do that. You can move around, you can knit, you can color, you can do whatever and do the meditation. And that can be really beneficial to someone with ADHD, because just like a lot of times, like my ex-husband, I had to learn that he was listening to me better when he was doing something with his hands than if he was looking at me. And that was a huge adjustment because I didn't know much about ADHD at that point when we got married. But I learned that he would listen to me much better when he was playing a game on his phone, because the extra energy that he had going through his system was directed somewhere else. And then he could actually pay attention. So you can do the same thing with meditation if that's something that can serve you.
And for men, the longer men can stay in a meditative state, the longer they last in bed. And for women, the longer they can meditate, the easier it is for them to orgasm.
Well, that's beautiful.
I'm starting
That's instinctive.
Another thing too is actually if you live somewhere and you have, that weed is legal. For me, I just wouldn't smoke weed. I'm a nurse. I can get drug tested. I just wouldn't do it. And then I always like to be in control. My mother was an alcoholic, so I like to be in control. So I was drunk in high school. I haven't ever even had sex drunk because I just, and finally, I think one of my lovers maybe 20 years ago was just like, you should just try it once because it's like really good with sex. And even though I tried it and I took that chance, I was still so like not surrendering to it and trying to be in control. Like it was kind of freaking me out because I don't like to not be in control, that I didn't really feel the benefit of it. And then finally, a couple of years ago, whenever it was legal, I took some and I smoked, but I did it several times with someone I was dating that I was in a relationship with. And then I was able to really relax, and I would just do it before bed. I'm telling you, and I know Tantra and everything, but I'm telling you that really enhanced my pleasure. I was like, whoa. Because again, even though I did all of my other meditative practices, I was really tapped in the body and my experiences in my body, and not using this, not in my brain at all. It's like, it felt like all those little tabs just shut down. I was like, wow, this feels amazing. I totally understand why people do this now. And my daughter's like, you're so late to the party, Mom. But that's interesting because the part of the flower of the marijuana plant that I guess think that they use that makes us high is it's actually from the female part of the flower. So it actually works with our female anatomy, and that's why some different there's CBD oils for arousal and lubricants and stuff like that as well. Wow. It's just really interesting, but it really did help me. Like if you really feel like I just cannot relax enough and I'm having challenges, and it's a place where you have like either a medical card or it's legal, I would definitely try it. And just know the first few times it's just going to feel so weird to you. It might not have the fullest effect. But then when you can relax to it, you surrender to that, you can surrender to your orgasm more easily.
I have started to use edibles when I'm coming down off my Adderall. I don't know if anybody here is medicated, but I take Adderall 15 milligrams and twice a day. And so long about this time of day, 5 in the evening or so, I'm coming off of it. I take a 5 milligram edible, and instead of, coming to like a screeching halt, I just go down the slide.
That's
good. And then it's dinner time for the kids. I have 3 children. It's dinner time for the kids, and it's homework time, and it's bath time, and I am just more than happy to help them. I take that edible and I am like, what are we reading today?
That's
but
awesome.
if I don't, before I was kind of like anti, just personally not for me, because one time I smoked, I got super paranoid, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. And so when I gave this another chance in that low dose, I did half of one. I had to like put myself in the right headspace to do it first, like relax and be like, I had my partner here with me and everything. It was a lot of hype for 2.5 milligrams. And it really, really helped me. And then the sex was phenomenal.
That's all I'm saying.
And phenomenal. I got out of my head.
That's the thing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. You women are amazing, and I want to make sure we're good on time. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and tools and practices with everyone who chooses to watch this. I will make sure I put the links below so that if you want to connect with Sherry or DaVita or Ari, you can do so, because they are amazing and have beautiful content or work that they're doing. And feel free to connect with whoever you feel resonated with. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. It was so great to meet you guys. I feel like I'm already changed.
That's
I have homework to do, okay?
I do too.